Thank you, Chairman. Chief Tidwell, our state, Missouri, is ranked number 3 by Forest Service in terms of economic impact of forestry on the economy. I want to talk a little bit about the Collaborative Forest Landscape Restoration Project. I met with the regional forester, Kathleen Atkinson, in December of a year ago, and I'd been to the site where you were doing a large burn. I think it was a 10,000-acre burn. Looked like to the farm boy and me that there was lots of damage to the tall trees we're trying to save and lots of potential erosion on the ground. I asked for a couple of things then. One which I haven't gotten yet. One was any proof that we felt that this would really work. I believe the goal was to restore the forest to some moment that the services decided was exactly the right balance of trees in the forest, which I think we could probably argue about, and whether or not the forest industry could go in and mark trees and harvest those trees before you burnt them. I didn't receive much in specifics on that. On the marking the trees, I think the answer was no, you didn't think that was possible. But there was a meeting recently with the local Forest Service, with Congressman Smith and Congressman Lukemeyer, and my staff in the state, and my understanding now is that those funds will not be used for burns, but will be used to hire new personnel to help with harvesting in the coming fiscal year. Is that right?
Senator, with the Collaborative Forest Landscape Restoration projects, that there's always a mix of activities, and yes, this coming year there's going to be more mechanical treatment, more timber harvest that'll be coming off of there. The purpose of the prescribed fire is to create a much more resilient forest that can deal with concerns with insect and disease, etc. When there are merchantable trees, we always want to get in there and harvest those trees that need to be removed. But then the prescribed fire is to be able to just provide more of the ecological system that we have, so that it's more it's more resilient. So it's usually a combination, and often we do a timber harvest and then follow that with a prescribed burn to reduce some of the residual material and reduce the concern for a potential fire. So it takes both. But this coming year, I do know that on that project they're going to be focused on doing timber harvest and not the prescribed burning. And so
okay, well, that's helpful. And then there's a University of Missouri study on the impact of that program and forestry generally. Are you aware of that, and are you all cooperating in that?
I'm not aware of that specific study, but I can follow up on that and get back to you.
Would you follow up on that? I think your people on the ground said that they were beginning to work with the University of Missouri to talk about the impact there. And I think the estimate is we lose 50 million board feet of timber in the Mark Twain Forest every year, and we harvest about 38 million. Doing a better job harvesting the trees that are going to be lost would be something that I know you care about, and I do too, and hope we do that. Do you have some information there, maybe, Mr. Dixon, on the study I asked about? Or
our northern research station is working with the University of Missouri to detail the socioeconomic modeling related to the impacts of our collaborative forest restoration program. So we are working in conjunction with the university.
Well, since both those things have been verified, I feel better about the year we're going into. I do think on the greater program of the burning program, what I'd like to see, and maybe we've got a year now to see if you could produce that for me, is any evidence that really is going to work in restoring the forest area you're burning to where you think it is. I mean, it seems like to me, having visited there, that the trees coming back up are the same trees you burnt down, as opposed to some different look that tries to capture a moment in time, which I think is pretty arguable too, that was the perfect moment for the forest, and we go to all this effort to make that happen. And you do have, when you remove all of the ground cover, obviously erosion and other things are a problem that wouldn't be otherwise. I may have had my two biggest questions answered here. Personnel-wise, are you using the new personnel that you're hiring to try to identify the timber that can be harvested? Is that what I understood you to say?
Well, Senator, each year they put together their program of work, and then we get a lot of our work done with our seasonal workforce. So as we move into a year, we're going to be doing more timber harvest. We're going to be hiring more seasonals to do the marking, et cetera, versus maybe a prescribed burn. But the thing I need to stress is that with the reduction of our staffing over the last decade, it has just really limited our ability to be able to manage these forests, to be able to do the work where there's now strong support across the country, especially in these collaborative forest landscape restoration projects where people understand what needs to be done on the landscape. But I'll tell you, we are just so limited in what we're able to do. Our folks are doing a great job to be able to produce as much as they are. But like with this budget request, where we're asking for additional money to be able to do more forest restoration, do more hazardous fields funding, and this is the first time that I've been up here in quite a few years in a position to be able to ask for that increase. That's what will really make a difference. So we have the collaboratives are in place. Folks understand what work needs to be done. Now's the time for us to add some additional capacity into the system so that we can get more work done. And Senator, we will share with you the monitoring information from that project and also the research that we have that guides the type of projects that we're putting on the ground. We've been doing this work for many years, and we will provide that information. Not every project accomplishes every objective we set out. That's why we monitor these. But just like on our hazardous fields projects, 90% of those meet their objectives to reduce the threat of fire, reduce the severity of fire. So we will provide you with that additional information.
I may have some other questions later, Chairman.